shooters in the school. I was talking to one of my daughters who was teaching it, and she quit. And she said, "Dad," I remember one day I was talking to her, and she said, "I gotta go now." I said, "What's going on? What's this urgency in your voice?" "Well, we got a drill." I said, "Fire drill?" "No. In the event a shooter comes in the school, what are we supposed to do?" That's different. This is different. Somebody playing basketball and rolls over into the neighbor's yard, and the neighbor comes out and shooting and wound them. That's different. It's a new space. And there's nothing coming through the media. There's nothing coming through the internet of what do we need to do to begin to revert this climate of violence, this climate of chaos. Evil prevails when we just step back and look at it and say, "Oh, ain't it awful?" And one of the things that I know, that all this stuff that's going on, don't discount what I'm about to say. God is still in charge. There's some things that's going on that goes beyond our level of understanding. But it doesn't mean that it's a hopeless situation. No. It means that life be life, and think it not strange that you face the fiery furnaces of this world. You will, not you might, you will have tribulation. People are looking for answers. How do I handle this? Got a child suffering from autism or mental illness. How do I handle this? I'm taking care of my parents. How do I handle this? I've lost my job. I've got to turn the page and start a new chapter, but I haven't figured that out. How do I handle this? I'm having challenges in my relationship. How do I handle this? And one of the things that I've said, that when things go wrong, don't go with them. However, and I want you to write this down and just think about it if you can, is that this is a time that you got to be consciously conscious of how you're showing up. As you know, I've been conquering fourth stage cancer for several decades. This year, before the year is out, my goal is to kill cancer. And as a result of my offensive tactics, I went from being a warrior, not worrying about what's going on, but a warrior. I mean, it seemed like at 78, you'd be worn out. No. Because I decided a long time ago, I watched my mother, Mamie Brown, who adopted us. And Mamie Brown didn't worry, she was a warrior. She had a mindset, I'm going to make things happen no matter what. When she took me and my brothers and sisters from my birth mother that I just discovered, Dorothy Bell Rucker, I want you to go to YouTube and watch the Les Brown 2021 surprise. I just found out at 77. My birth mother's name was Dorothy Rucker from Gainesville, Georgia. And she said, I'm going to take care of them. They'll never go to bed hungry, and we did not. There will always be clothes on our back, and she did provide that. She made it happen. And this is a time that you have to begin to realize that stuff is going to always be happening in the world, but it doesn't matter about that. You have the power in you to handle all that stuff. We've been programmed to be victims. We've been programmed to be fans. People spending hours on end talking about who's the GOAT. And they're an amateur in their own lives when it comes to living their dream. And there are things that we're doing that we're better than that. It's a time that you have to make up your mind, regardless of where you are, regardless of what you've gone through, regardless of where people might say that you can't make it, that you're going to be a statistic. You got to make up your mind. There's nothing as powerful as a made-up mind to say, this is not going to be the best of me. This is not going to get me down or keep me down. I've been saying, if life knocks you down, try and land on your back, because you can look up, you can get up. That you have to have, there's nothing as powerful as a made-up mind. I remember I was speaking at Christ Universal Temple Church in Chicago, and this lady was seated in the balcony, and she heard me, and she left the church, and she told me about this. She went downtown to the Hyatt Hotel on Wacker, and went from there to the airport, and flew to a relative in California. I said, were you married and have children? Yeah. I said, why'd you do that? She said, I had it. She said, you said something that really resonated with me. You said, the only time people make a dramatic change in their lives, when they get to the point where they say, I have had it. And she said, I looked at my life. I was in a marriage where we were dying together rather than living together. We were miserable, staying there and using it as an excuse for the children. And the children now grown, still living at home, getting on my last nerve. And I've been diagnosed with breast cancer, and they have not shown any consideration for me. Going through therapy, going through chemo and radiation. You ask the audience, is your relationship killing you? I decided I wanted to live. See, sometimes you got to draw the line in the sand and just say, no, I'm not putting up with this anymore. Sometimes you got to do that when you're working on a job. You've been passed up for promotion after promotion after promotion. And because you're not sucking up to the manager, your boss, and you decide, you know what? I don't have to take this. I don't have to sit around and be stressed out and I'm overworked and underpaid and just complaining about this. No, there's never been a statue erected for someone who spent their whole life complaining. I'm going to do something about this. And I'll look for some other jobs. And finally, I decided I was going to create my own job. You and I, we're made in the likeness and the image of God. It doesn't get any better than that. We've been given authority. We've been given the power and authority and dominion over everything on the face of the earth. It doesn't get any better than that. I talked to a friend of mine last night. I said, you know what? I said that the majority of people are failing right now. And Bob Proctor, who's since passed, said this, and it's real. He said, because of ignorance. Because they don't take the time to study. They don't take the time to listen to themselves, to get still and say, speak, Lord, thy servant here. They don't take the time to get to know themselves. You know, they said the most important day in your life, Mark Twain said this, the day that you're born and the day that you realize why you're born. Live your life the way you want to leave your life, doing something that's you, and to live a life that will outlive you. And part of doing that is not underestimating yourself. You are stronger than any adversity you've gone through. You're more powerful than any abuse, mentally and emotionally and physically, that you've experienced. Now, I'm not saying that it's easy to get through that stuff, but I'm saying is that don't underestimate yourself. Life happens to all of us. And you were chosen. There's something in you. God had a lot of choices. You were chosen. Out of 400 million sperm, you were chosen. There's something that's in you. You were deployed to be here. But when we get here, we were indoctrinated not to live out our purpose, but to assimilate, be not conformed to this world, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Most people spend more time and energy on being entertained than learning and discovering themselves and their purpose. Because once you discover your purpose, it gives your life a sense of direction. And once your life has a sense of direction, now you can live a life that matters. Now you can live a life that has impact, a life that will outlive you. I realized, I remember I went to get my examination, and they said, Mr. Brown, after they did my blood work, whoa, we haven't seen this. I said, what do you mean? Your white blood cells. the allure. What do you mean by that? Your white blood cells, that's your army. That protects you from cancer. And I remember reading something called Who's the Matter with Me? And I took time to think. And as I began to look and journal and talk to myself and listen to myself and tune out everything, had a lot of stuff stressing me out. And guess what? It wasn't my stuff. I was taking on stuff involving my children, taking on stuff involving my grandchildren, taking on the pressure and stress of dealing with a son that's bipolar, schizophrenic, that wouldn't take his medication. And I said, wait a minute, I don't get to tell a grown person what to do with their lives. This is not of my business. And taking on stuff, people called me, would you give me this, would you give me this? And realize, wait a minute, figure it out. That's what I did. Because I had a goal and had a dream of being able to take care of my mother. Mamie Brown didn't carry me and my brother for 9 months and give birth to us, but she chose us. She said, hey, never had any children, but I want them. I want those twins. And promised Dorothy Bell, I'll take care of them. And then took on 5 other children. And so what I realized when I think about Mama, she made it happen no matter what, and we fell on some tough times. But we never gave up. This is a time not to worry. This is a time to be a warrior. You're stronger than you give yourself credit for being. Simba, you're more than that which you have become. Most people are enriching the cemetery. Dr. Miles Monroe was right. Rob the cemetery of your genius, of your abilities, of your talent. You lost a job, guess what? That's a good thing, because God put something in you to allow you to have the power to use your imagination and your creativeness to create your own job. Live life victoriously from a place of power. This is your time. This is your moment. You were born and preserved for such a time as this. They say, oh, these are some tough times. This is tough times? Give me a break. Are you kidding me? This ain't nothing. Stony the road we trod, bitter the jesting rod, felt in the days when hope unborn had died, yet with a steady beat have not our weary feet come to the place for which our fathers sighed. We have come over a way that with tears have been watered, come over a way treading a path through the blood of the slaughter. Come on. These are tough times compared to what? Shakespeare was right. Nothing is neither good nor bad, but thinking makes it so. You've got greatness in you. Don't you underestimate yourself. Don't you give more power to what you've gone through and let it define you. Decide that it's going to refine you to become the person that God intended for you to become. I'm a different person after somebody looked at me and said, you have 4th stage cancer. I'm a different person. The things I used to be concerned about, I no longer became concerned about those things. Things that used to get to me, I didn't focus on those things. I didn't even focus on those words. I focus on the reality that a diagnosis is not a verdict. I was telling a guy this the other day. Somebody had her husband called me. He was diagnosed with prostate cancer. And I asked him, I said, what's your PSA? Your prostate specific antigen. He said, 11. I said, is that right? Yes. I said, listen to me. I said, my PSA was 2,400. I said, don't just allow them to decide what they're going to do with you. This is a co-partnership. You want to educate yourself and find out what's going on so that you can become a cancer conqueror. That's who you're talking to. That's on this phone talking to you right now. Well, let me share with you what my doctor said. Listen to me. I don't care what your doctor said. Your doctor said to you that it's aggressive. Your doctor said it's outside of your prostate. Your doctor said that you need to get your life in order. Listen to me. You don't want to be talking to anybody like that. No. No, they're proposing some stuff for you that you're gonna have a 50 chance of suffering from incontinence or wearing a diaper. No, you need to look at and explore what are the best options for you. Life is nothing to be played with. You got to get serious. You got to get focused on your healing. They determine the diagnosis, God and you. You join in that process with God to determine the prognosis, the determination. They determine the diagnosis. You're here for a reason. There's a reason that we're taught greater is he that's in you than he that's in the world. There's a reason that we're taught you are more than a conqueror. Can't be thinking like a punk and think you're going to beat cancer. You better listen to me. I've been kicking cancer's butt so long, talking about cancer's mama and everything. Come on. I said, you better go back to your mama and say, Mama, you know what? He beat me up. Is there anybody else that I need to go get? No. There's no time to be a chump. No time to be caught up in the stuff that's going on in this world. Be ye not conformed to this world. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. The reason that most people are suffering from loneliness and feeling powerless and hopeless, they have assimilated. They are conformists. They allow themselves to be inundated with craziness and madness every day. They're looking at television. They're looking at craziness on the internet. And I'm one of them. I found myself just strolling and looking at stuff, and before I knew it, 2 or 3 hours had gone. What? Are you kidding me? I had to talk to myself. Are you 78? And you looking at craziness? Some muscular guy going around kicking food out of people's hair, bumping into people, people playing pranks on each other. Come on. There's people line up to watch people slap the hell out of each other. How entertaining could that be? This platform that can be used to educate people, that can be used to change the consciousness and the culture, a culture where people are trigger happy. Policemen that are being rude, of Klansmen and white supremacists that are wearing a badge and got a gun and know they can take your life and don't suffer any consequences. Not feeling safe in sending our children to school or feeling safe in church or anywhere. We were born for such a time as this, to push humanity forward, to be a force for good, to be a voice to help to dismiss and to dismantle the self-destructive mindset people have of themselves and help them to begin to get on the right path, to live out the greatness that they were chosen to live for. This is a different place. You have something special. I know what I'm talking about. Been on the planet for 78 years. The ones who can hear my voice, my sheep shall hear my voice. He who has ear, let him hear. I know the masses can't hear me. And I'm not talking to them. I'm talking to the few. The road to life is straight and narrow, and few there be that find it. Yeah, because few there be that's looking for it. If you can hear me, not in your ears, but in your heart, if you can hear me in your heart, where your heart is, there your treasure is also. I'm saying to you, you have the power in you to rise above anything that life is thrown at you. Regardless of what your situation is right now, I'm telling you what I know. You have something special. You have greatness in you. And don't surrender. Don't give up. Don't be a warrior. Be a warrior. Live life victorious. But I don't know what to do. You don't need to know what to do. Commit yourself that you're going to do something different than what you've done in the past. Commit thy works into the Lord, and thy thoughts shall be established. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path. Listen, God is still in the midst of this. When you commit yourself, you're giving God something to work with. Come on now. You're giving him something to work with. When you make a commitment to go into action, to do what you can, as George Washington Carver would say, to do what you can where you are with what you have, and never be satisfied with what you produce, because you know that you can do better. You know that you can better your best. Things will open up for you that eye has not seen, ear has not heard, nor has entered the heart of mankind what God has in store for you. I'm so grateful I'm still here. I'm so grateful that I still have a voice. I call around and check on my classmates, Booker T. Washington High School in Miami and Overtown. Oh, he's gone. John King? Yeah, he's gone. Cassandra? Oh, yeah, she's gone. Veronica? Oh, yes, she died some time ago. Marcus Smith? Yeah, they're gone. At some point in time, there'll be a call. Les, oh, he's out of here. We're all going to go. But I heard something that's so important. The most tragic thing is not that you die. The most tragic thing is that you leave here and the things that God put in you, you take them with you to the cemetery. That you never lived. That you just survived. You just took up space. That's what's tragic. What it takes to live and what it takes to survive are two different things. That your life didn't matter. That you did not fulfill the purpose that you were chosen out of 400 million sperm. That's what the tragedy is. That you underestimated yourself and gave the power over to what happened to you as opposed to focusing on what's in you. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. When shall the kingdom of God come? The kingdom of God cometh not by observation. They shall say, it's neither lo there, lo here. Behold, the kingdom of God is within you. You got the power in you to change your life, to change your family's life, to change your financial situation, to change your circumstances, and change the world. I want to know that there's somebody that can hear me. I give this speech in the Georgia Dome where I'm speaking to over 80,000 people. And I talk about Mr. Washington. He was a speech and drama teacher at Booker T. Washington High School. And I talked about when I heard him speak, and he said, if just one of you students here heard my voice, my being brought here will not have been in vain. And I want you to check this speech out. I'm speaking before 80,000 people. And I want you to think about as you watch it, this guy, born in an abandoned building on a floor in Liberty City, 62nd Street, 17th Avenue, with a twin brother. This guy adopted, was a foster kid, then adopted at 16 or 17. This guy who was labeled educable, mentally retarded, in the 5th grade at Douglas Elementary School in Overtown and put back from the 5th grade to the 4th grade and failed again in the 8th grade at Booker T. Washington High School. Speaking to 80,000 people. Very conservative group. Their theme was the cross and the flag, all white audience. And the guy who selected me, he hated me. He told me that. I don't like you. And I didn't ask him, well, why did you bring me here? I just sat there when he called me a Negro. And I had to remind myself why I was there. Because Liberty City was about to come out, but about to serve you. I'm about to whoop your behind up in here. And I had to remind myself, why are you here? To deliver a word. He said, I got choices. Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, Robert Schuller, Tony Robbins, Jim Rohn. Those are the icons. And nobody's ever been on my stage that looked like you as a motivational speaker. He said, but I want you to speak. He said, do you know why? I didn't answer. I wanted him to answer. And he said, you're the one. I heard a speech that you gave on a cassette tape and how you became a disc jockey. and how you are hungry. These are entrepreneurs. They need to be taught how to make a way out of no way, how to make it against all odds, and you have done that. I want you to speak, because you speak from your heart. Yeah, you're the one. You can move that stadium. I've never spoken a stadium before. Dexter Yeager was his name. He said, I know. This is the largest gathering of entrepreneurs, but I know you'll find a way to do it. And he was right. I was the one. You'll see it. I'm telling you, I'm not making this stuff up. I didn't know I could do it, but I did it. There are things that you can do that you don't know you can do it. Eye has not seen, ear has not heard, nor has entered the heart of mankind what God has put in you. That in this point in time, you've been preserved. You are here because of God's grace and mercy to show up and show out. Thank you for listening. You have something special. You're a masterpiece because you're a piece of the master. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.